Boy Scouts of America President Robert Gates recently said this, quote, "We must deal with the world as it is, not as we might want it to be. The status quo in our movement's membership standards can't be sustained." Now, Mr. Gates previously homosexualized our U.S. military as a proponent for repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Now let's stop for a minute. Let's look at the Boy Scout oath and some past leadership examples. The oath is what? Quote, "On my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, and to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Honoring chastity until marriage, upholding fidelity to one spouse, avoiding homosexuality, steering clear of pornography. These are all encompassed in the commitment to remain morally straight, along with a commitment to patriotism, courage, loyalty, integrity, and service." Do you recall some of the famous Boy Scout, models that were put forth to emulate over the years? Some of them were Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Neil Armstrong, Andy Griffith, Hank Aaron, John Wayne, Sam Walton, Walter Cronkite, Jimmy Stewart, Gerald Ford, George W. Bush, J.W. Marriott Jr., and Bill Gates. And what did they all have in common? These were men who, though they're not flawless, they demonstrated manliness and they inspired us to become masculine leaders in our personal lives and future families. Now, for the record, the Boy Scouts are not discriminating by upholding standards for leadership and looking out for young, impressionable boys. In 2000, the Supreme Court ruled that Boy Scouts had the absolute right, under well-established constitutional rights to free speech and free association, to refuse to, quote, "promote homosexual conduct as a legitimate form of behavior." Now, just as a men's softball league, excludes females and women's yoga exercise club will not be open to men, this is simply associational freedom. It's a constitutional right. Now I want you to picture for a minute leaving a Boy Scouts gathering at your church when a homosexual troop leader is seen crossing the parking lot holding hands with his lover. Before entering the car, they exchange a sensual kiss. Your young son stops abruptly, looks at you confused and saddened, and then he lays it on the line like kids do. He'd say, "Dad or Mom, why are those two men holding hands and kissing each other? My friend Joe said something that our troop leader is married to another man. That's gross. I feel weird when I'm around him. Do I have to go on that camping trip? What if I find myself alone with him? Even if it's just a few minutes, I don't want it." Also, young boys are very susceptible to imitate authority figures. When I was in elementary school, I tried to imitate my gym teacher, Mr. B. He was a bodybuilder and a cop, and I imitated his mannerisms. I did the same with Rocky Colavito, my baseball hero. And finally, and this is the elephant in the room, but let's hit it straight on, pedophilia. In a study published by the Archives of Sexual Behavior, that's not a Christian organization or a conservative group, their research revealed that, quote, listen to this, 86% of offenders against males describe themselves as homosexual or bisexual. The Family Research Council states unequivocally, quote, "Since almost 30% of child sexual abuse is committed by homosexual or bisexual men, but less than 3% of American men identify themselves as homosexual or bisexual, we can infer that homosexual or bisexual men are approximately 10 times more likely to molest children than heterosexual men," end quote. Are you familiar with Trail Life USA? It's a Christian Boy Scout alternative. It's growing rapidly throughout America, and it's based on uncompromising biblical values. Many parents sense the storm coming and are switching. May God guide you.